weight that Adisa put on this offseason. How do you think that's going to contribute to his game, and how are you working with him on incorporating that in his pass rushing game specifically?
I think it's just the evolution of Adisa. I think he's grown up. He's a guy who always had a lot of muscle in his body, but I think it's one of those things that he realizes that with his size, with his speed, and his athletic ability, that he can put on more weight. And the more weight you can, the faster you generate power, with the ability to still have flexibility, bend, and all those other things. I think it was a natural growth for him, to do for his career.
Adisa missing a lot of last year, dealing with that nagging hamstring. What were the things that you wanted him to work on going into offseason? Where do you see him at now?
Well, as far as the things that I can control from a pass rush standpoint, we want to get him on the field, really get him going, so he's working really. It's almost like his first year for him when you look at it, because he didn't get a chance to do a lot of this stuff. But one of the things that Adisa has worked really hard on is he's understanding the defense. That's the first thing. So from that standpoint, he's working on understanding the defense. He's in good shape. He's having a good get off. He's working hard in his coverage, all the different things that you want a guy to do. Adisa's working super hard, and we're excited about him. And I can't wait to see when we put the pads on, in camp and get after it. And that's going to be really the measuring stick of where he's at.
There was a lot of chatter about Mike Green when the Ravens drafted him. I know you were excited about picking him up. What did you see from him on tape pre-draft, and how does that translate to what you've seen here?
Well, the first thing I saw of Mike Green was effort. A guy who runs to the ball. And if you've watched him out here, Mike Green runs to the ball every play. And that you don't have to coach him on. That's one of the best things. When you get to be a pro, you shouldn't have to coach effort. And a lot of guys that come out of college, you say, let's go, got to push them. That's one of the first things I saw in Mike Green. And then he's coachable. He wants to learn. He's in there asking questions with Matt and Dennis when we're all combined as far as a defensive front, when we're all together in the room. And that's another thing that stands out in him. He's super smart, and picking up the defense. And, I give Mike a lot of credit. He comes out here. Mike has heavy hands. He doesn't turn down reps and heavy hands. He puts hands on guys. He's shown that he has the ability to, strike blocks. And, in this, again, we're not, all out, and all that will be seen, again, when we get into camp. But as far as Mike doing everything we ask, he's doing it. And from a pass rush standpoint, Mike is very, he's skilled up. Give him credit, give his school a lot of credit, and his coach in college at Marshall and probably Virginia. Mike, he can cross chop, Mike can spin, Mike can ghost. But, from that standpoint, Mike is the best example of this new generation that have learned, like, from the pros, and he comes in already really highly skilled up. So, give him a lot of credit. I mean, Mike is his get off, just amazed that, he's in his base 2-point stance. He has no false steps. He gets off on the ball fast. So I can't say enough about Mike so far. Now we put the pads on, so the Mike Green that we've seen so far is everything that we thought he would be, when we decided to draft him.
Josh, around this time last year, you called Tavius Robinson, I think it was like a glass eater.
Curious
where you've seen him take steps since then, and what are your hopes and expectations for him this year?
Listen, Tavius Robinson doesn't get enough credit because Tavius Robinson is one of our centerpieces. He's not just a guy who, he came up, he's a overachiever. No. Tavius Robinson, when you look at from an organization standpoint, I believe in speaking for our organization. I shouldn't be, but I think they'll always agree. Tavius Robinson is everything you look for in a Baltimore Raven. Every day Tavius Robinson showed up, and this is not me exaggerating, he sits in the front, he takes notes, he plays hard. He's taken more snaps than anybody here since I've been here in practice. He works after practice. He's a good person. He got that dog in him. And what he's really worked on really hard, we've worked on, is Tavius Robinson now is going to be, I believe, a bona fide pass rusher, and he has an opportunity to have a breakout season. I mean, Tavius Robinson came out of college. He ran a 4.6. But then also being in fairness to how it works, Tavius isn't part of the rush group. Doff, and he had Jadavion, you had Kyle, you had those guys, and those are double-digit sackers, guys who've had careers. So he's not getting those reps. So if Tavius Robinson had 250 pass reps a year, he'd get 7, 8, 9 sacks. It's just about the numbers. But Tavius Robinson is everything you look for. He's going to be a good rusher. He's adding rush moves in his repertoire. He's got power. But make no bones about it, Tavius Robinson is a centerpiece in our defensive front for what he does and moving forward.
Hey, Chuck, I know you work mostly with the outside linebackers, but I know also with your reputation, defensive linemen come to you also for advice all the time.
Right.
Talk a little bit about Travis Jones and Willis Peebles, maybe, for what they can do.
Okay. All right, first let me answer something to make something clear. I'm the pass rush coach. I'm not the outside linebacker coach. I'm not the defensive line coach. What I am is I oversee the pass rush from the defensive line, the outside linebackers, the linebackers, as well as the development of the secondary. So that's how it works now. So Matt Robinson's outside linebackers, Dennis Johnson is linebackers. We all work together called a defensive front. There's 3 of us, along with Megan Rosberg and Andrew Rogan. It's really 4 of us who really put it together. So, you know, you kind of understand the context of what I'm saying. So I do get a chance to work with everybody. Now, Travis Jones, so I can answer your question. Travis Jones is fantastic. Travis Jones is a pass rusher that I'll put him out there one-on-one with 95% of the offensive guards in the league, and they can't block him. Travis Jones is getting ready to be one of the best interior rushers in the game. Last year when he was healthy, he was one of the best interior rushers in the game. The film doesn't lie, nor do the respect he has from the other teams. Travis Jones he's skilled up. And one of the things when I first got here, we talked about, and some of the people that were here, we talked about we want everybody to have a skill. Whether you're big, you're small, you're a cornerback, a linebacker, we want everybody to have skill. Travis Jones has multiple moves, and he does a chop drive. He can do a hump. He can do long arms. He can do everything. Travis Jones, if things go the way I see it for Travis Jones and the way I think the overview of our team goes, Travis Jones has a chance to be a Pro Bowler. He's as good as any defensive lineman nose guard in the National Football League. And I think this year, when he stays healthy the entire season, I think he'll prove it and put it on tape.
Two more for Coach.
David Ojabo told me he spent a lot of time here the offseason working hard. Has a few years under his belt, obviously highly skilled. What do you see from him, and what's the keys to unlock his potential?
Well, I think the first thing is Ojabo last year was pretty much the first year he was healthy. You know, when you think about it, that's part of it. So a lot of times when you're getting healthy, you're not necessarily gaining, you're just trying to manage to get back to where you started. So now I think this offseason his platform has raised from the standpoint of he's had a chance to work harder. You know, he has a chance to do the different things that it takes from the strength standpoint, and he's worked really hard. Ojabo, you know, he plays hard, he competes hard, and, you know, I'm excited about, you know, what he gets a chance to do in camp.
Chuck, just curious, what did you notice that's different with Zach Orr, you know, this time compared to maybe last time that kind of stand out to you?
All right, I'm glad. Is this the last question? I'm glad I was hoping somebody asked me this, because all last year I was watching everybody broadcast and talking. I lived it, I walked it, I seen it. I watched this coordinator stand on 10 toes. Zach Orr is the guy. Zach Orr, I'm telling you, is going to be an incredible coordinator. And let me tell you why. When we were struggling last year, I watched him stand in front of these mics every week and talk to y'all. He didn't flinch. But I also watched him stand in front of a room someday. I mean, we played after the Bengals. It wasn't like we were celebrating, because from a defensive standpoint, they did a lot. They had great days on us. Zach Orr, man, looked those players in the eye. He never let the high get high or the low get too low. He stayed in the middle, and I'm telling you, he always would be positive, but he was tough. He's tough on the coaches and the players. And he would tell everybody, he would show everybody how close we were to actually having success. Like, it might be an angle of a defensive back runs the ball, or it might be a pass rusher that ran past the quarterback and the quarterback ran. Zach would stand and talk to everybody, and he led. He never flinched. And watching this cat do it, and I know last year a lot of people, you know, they were in the media were saying, well, this guy came in and helped. No, Zach Orr did it. Zach Orr in those rooms with the coaches, he led, he made the changes in support with Coach Harbaugh and the guys on that staff, but Zach Orr truly led the charge. I'm a witness to it, and I've been wanting to say this because dude is the truth. Dude didn't flinch, and dude is going to be one of the best coordinators in the league. He is smart, he is a leader, and when you watch him work every day, this dude comes to work. I'm telling you, and I'm just glad that was my last question, because I wanted to set the record straight, because I'm a part of it, and I have no reason to come up here and BS y'all, because you know I roll. But Zach Orr was the one who changed what we did last year, and give John Harbaugh a lot of credit. You know, he was in there with us too, but I got to give Zach most of the credit for the adjustments that happened in that secondary, and also helping us coaches. He's call him the youngest in charge. That's what I call him. He's a special coach, and I'm really blessed to be around a guy like that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.